Donald Trump's tariff U-turn seems to have settled the choppy waters of international finance, for now, anyway. Wall Street, investors, and capitalism in general are all very happy. But more pleased than most are some of Trump's biggest supporters, broadcasters in the manosphere. This was Trump fanboy and Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy celebrating the change in the president's strategy.
You think all these left people are going to clip what I got now? The dancing? Huh? They're going to clip it? Clip it! I dare you to clip this next part. Hold on. I'm up 8.2 million today.
Now, Portnoy wasn't quite so cheerful just a few days ago. Earlier this week, he gave this take on the stock market's response to Trump's tariffs.
My little thing just says arrows going down. MicroStrategy down 12%. Coinbase 10%. Yeah, it's red. It's ugly. Don't jump. Bah. Orange Monday. Don't call it Black Monday. It's Orange Monday. This is Trump's tariffs have absolutely decimated the market. And it's ugly.
I was going to say we've all met a guy like that, but actually I don't think we have, those of us outside of the United States anyway. Portnoy said he'd lost $20 million in the crash. And just hours before Trump's turnaround, he told CNN he'd absolutely vote for the Democrats in the midterms if Wall Street's financial woes continued. Quite a change of heart from someone who helped grow Trump's base. Back in 2020, Portnoy interviewed the then president in the White House. Portnoy was credited with creating Barstool Republicans amongst his young male audience. Endorsing Trump back then, he said, "I don't care if he's a joke. I don't care if he's racist. I don't care if he's sexist. I don't care about any of it. I hope he stays in the race and I hope he wins." Why? Because I love the fact that he is making other politicians squirm. It wasn't just politicians squirming, was it, Dave? Also hurt by Trump's economic strategy was streamer Aiden Ross. This is him on a recent stream.
Guys, you want to be honest with you? I don't know how many of you guys are invested in crypto or stocks. What the fuck is going on with our country? Guys, why am I poor? Like, what is going on in the world right now? Why the fuck is this going on? Can somebody please explain what's going on? Why are we all losing? Why are we all negative right now? Like, does anybody know why?
Ross also helped to build Trump's popularity amongst his heavily male-leaning audience. Back in August, Ross endorsed Trump on his stream, and he gifted him with a Rolex watch and a Tesla Cybertruck wrapped in the iconic image of Trump raising his fist after an assassination attempt last year. Now, Ross's streams are heavily focused on his luxury lifestyle, rapper friends, and his liking for high-stakes bets. He's also a crypto guy. In 2021, he was accused of taking part in a pump and dump, encouraging his viewers to inflate the price of the MILF token before the value crashed as initial buyers sold high. Ross denied those allegations. Both Portnoy and Ross appear to belong to a category of Trump broadcasters who supported the president's tariff package without having the economic sense to anticipate the effect it would have on their stocks. Others, though, felt all along that the gain was worth the pain. One Trump supporter who backed the tariffs despite the market effect was Breitbart alumni Benny Johnson.
Losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. You're gonna, like, were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing. In fact, it builds quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons actually by losing money. Losing your character costs you everything. Losing your country costs you everything. There are things you can't get back.
Speaking after Trump's reversal, Johnson said this.
I am 100% in favor of that. Yes, there will be pain. Yes, you'll have to exercise some demons. These are the kind of things that happen when you have when you have demonic possession, which is what the country has right now. When you have things that are really bad and wrong with the country, you're gonna have to exercise them out.
Wow. A real true believer there. But what exactly is the demonic possession that Johnson's talking about? And how do these broadcasters think tariffs will fix it? In October last year, just weeks before the elections, Trump told another Manosphere podcaster, Joe Rogan, that tariff was the most beautiful word. And for many of these online men talking to their millions of young American male followers, I think it's clear that the idea of tariffs was never just about trade deficits. The reaction of some of them to the stock market turmoil shows that in many ways, it was never even an economic idea. Rather, the word was a code for a new social vision. It was a dream of a remade US society where hardworking men are the breadwinners, coming home each night to a stay-at-home wife and kids, and where having a college degree and an office job was less desirable and less rewarded than forging things from steel and fire. It was in their minds and in the minds of their followers, perhaps, about correcting an imbalance, getting us back into the timeline where American men were great again. That connection between tariffs and that nostalgic vision was recently summed up by another online influencer, health nonsense peddler Max Lagavere, and I'm not apologizing for mispronouncing his name if I have. A few days ago, he posted this TikTok video on X.
Gen Z boss in a mini, Gen Z boss in a mini, itty bitty titties in a ball, itty bitty titties in a ball, 5'3" in an attitude.
So that was some Gen Z women working in an office, making a harmless video of themselves singing and dancing. But Lagavere tweeted that video out with this question. Tariffs or this? He asks, referring to the video. And his answer, tariffs. The implication seems to be that tariffs and what they symbolize will be the end of a world in which women work office jobs and are able to be silly about it. Instead, real productive jobs done by men, will replace those unproductive non-jobs done by women. It's unclear where lifestyle podcasts, like the one hosted by Lagavere, fit into this equation. It's also unclear what Trump's pause and possible reversal of the tariffs mean for that vision. If the White House is now proposing to negotiate new trade agreements with 70 plus nations, while maybe fighting a trade war with China, isn't that just a version of business as usual? And if that's right, then what happens to that vision of reindustrialization and the social shifts it promised that caught the imaginations of so many young American men? Helena, is this all about tariffs or is it about something more? I mean, what do tariffs symbolize in this context?
I think you're right that it's this image of reindustrialization and this nostalgic idea of the time when America used to be great and what this means for men's role in modern society. So Batya Ungar-Sargon is the deputy political editor for Newsweek, and she was on Fox News talking about where men voting for Trump comes from and why these tariffs symbolize something that's important to them. She describes herself as a MAGA leftist, which is a really interesting thing, which I basically have kind of intuited means that she's just somebody who hates woke and therefore has attached herself to Trump because of it. She's also very pro-Israel as well, but that's by the by. Either way, what she was saying was that that there's been a lack of masculine jobs. You know, men don't have a role in society because the masculine jobs have been taken away and they've been replaced by service sector mouse click jobs. You know, people like the ones that they are deriding there, saying, well, these women are working nonsense office jobs. They're not real jobs because real jobs are where you make things with your hands, right? This kind of old school masculine energy. And a lot of people who have been, who don't like the identity politics things of the left, the push towards a kind of degendered world, people like that, more traditionalist in their viewpoint, who don't really have to kind of let that undermine their leftist values, disliking that, like Ungar-Sargon has said there, are supportive of reindustrialization because it might bring back something that would reinvigorate men's role in society. Now, of course, this underlies the fact that if you wanted to have a look at somebody who was going to bring back manufacturing and who was going to give men back their role in society by putting money into these Rust Belt communities that were so undermined by deindustrialization, well, that was the Democrats. That was the Democrats that were doing that with a 7% deficit, an industrial strategy, and targeted tariffs on Chinese imports that they were trying to beat through industrial policy, like with the CHIPS Act in the IRA. But that's by the by. But what it does is because they are so reactionary and pretty misogynistic too towards women and the left more broadly, they attach themselves to Trump, who promised something that he couldn't deliver on. Now, regardless of all the misogynist elements of this, which absolutely do exist, there is a crisis of men's role in society in this kind of neoliberal order if they continue to subscribe to this kind of masculinist vision of the world. There is the phrase, "Make America Great Again," was so powerful. It was so powerful as a slogan that took Trump to victory in 2016 and in 2024, and the fact that he got, the second most votes for any political candidate ever in 2020, despite the fact that Biden got even more, in that one election. It shows that there was a huge base of people who have been hurt by the way in which the economy has grown in America, that neoliberalism changed it from when one person could be able to look after an entire family. I would prefer that world where you don't have everyone go out to work and there was somebody caring for the children. But rather than talking about the dynamics that created two working parent households, it's about, well, this has allowed women to have independence, So it's about that framing. It's about that framing between, well, what's economically possible, what's good for family life, and what these people perceive to be their own personal breadwinning role. And I personally think we should be moving past that. I'm a feminist, of course. But that nostalgia, that's a function of wealth inequality and wage stagnation and the decoupling of productivity with real-term wages under neoliberalism. Like, this is a problem of the tax system. It's a problem of the division of the remuneration of labor and capital under a deregulated neoliberal system. And of course, a lot of this harkening back, as I said on yesterday's show, is because manufacturing jobs were well paid. But they weren't well paid because they were manufacturing jobs. They were well paid because they were unionized. It's the trade unions being undermined through Taft-Hartley, through the deregulatory frameworks, and that was slowly being regained over time. But now it looks like the National Labor Relations Board is going to be undermined by the new administration. That's not going to help these people. They're flailing around for where they find their role in society in a world that has no strategy to be able to help them because we've left it all up to the markets. America's the global hegemon. I mean, they do a lot of manufacturing, but that's high-tech manufacturing. And a lot of this high-tech manufacturing is automated. Like the kind of jobs that they are trying to nostalgically harken back to, they're not going away. And whilst this pretty incomplete analysis of what constitutes real work, insofar as if you make things, it's good. If you do a service, then it's bad. At the end of the day, it's about the factors of production that go into creating the end commodity. And anything that gets remuneration, any work that you do, should be remunerated properly. And they haven't understood that it's not the left that's to blame. It's not the woke that's to blame. It's not the women who they think aren't supposed to be in the position they're in society to blame. It's their boss that's to blame. It's their landlords that's to blame. And it is continual neoliberal governments for the last almost half a century that's to blame. And trade union membership amongst men is declining both in the UK and in the US. And so I was speaking to Sean Halsall from the Southport Community Independence on my stream a few months back, 6 months ago, after the Southport events. And the point he was making was that in a world where if you have a kind of populist message, which is where we're moving towards populism, you have to either there's an individualist route or a collectivist route. And the divergence that we've seen amongst the West is that women are moving towards more collectivist viewpoint, in my mind, and men are moving to more individualistic. It's the rise of the hustle culture, the crypto speculator. All those people say, well, it's just you. You can't collectively bring about change for yourself. You have to do it yourself, and therefore, of course, as Gary Stevenson points out, if you try and you fail, it's your fault. And that is leading to this crisis amongst young men. And so the solution is, of course, get these people involved in collective action and trade union bargaining. But we have to reach out to these people to be able to get them on board. And hopefully, wherefore, we can show them a better way than blaming women or wokeness or the lack of industrial jobs for why everything sucks nowadays.